Good evening, my lovelies, and welcome to Wednesday Wisdom for Wednesday, the 19th of February 2020. Seems strange because sometimes I don't know what day it is, and sometimes I don't know what time it is, and sometimes I have no idea what the date is. But anyway, a lot of this has got to do with me forward planning stuff, so I'm not always sure whether I'm in February or March. So, what I want to talk about today is about resistance and about flow. So we're coming to the end of the first quarter of this year. Now, it may have seemed to you like the year has just sprung up out of nowhere. All the things you had planned for this year haven't happened because other stuff's coming up. So it might be that your plans have just been put on hold for a little bit, or those plans don't seem to be exactly in line with what you're meant to be doing. So the universe is making you take a different direction. So what I want to say about this is instead of on our spiritual journey, on our spiritual journey to manifestation, to manifesting the things that we want, instead of pushing, I want to talk about having the patience and the ebb and flow of a tide. So I was reading the book by Wayne Dyer, Change Your Life, and it's his interpretation of the Tao Te Ching. And this particular verse, which was verse number 43rd verse, talked about a lot of things, but talked about in essence what I'm speaking about now, and that is when you have things coming up in your life and you push against those things, or you try really hard to work them out on your own, it's like you're going against the tide, pushing against the tide. So what he talks about is having the peace and the grace and the quietness of water. Water can rage, yes, but water is soft. The softness of water, the softness, the dedication, the peace, and the tranquility. He talks about great mountains, rocks that water can flow over. That's spirit. When my lighting goes like that, that's spirit in the room. He talks about how these gorges were actually formed is because they were rocks. They were hard, they were harsh, rugged country. And water started flowing down through there. And what it did was it gently carved out the way. It didn't make a big song and dance about it. It just did what it did. So what I'm saying to you today is to think about water, how water can, it's liquid, it's soft, it can smooth hard surfaces like rocks. And the rocks that I found when I was away were so beautiful because they were all smooth, very, very smooth. And like I said, if they were polished, there would be lots of little different colours come out of them. They wouldn't all be white, or they wouldn't all be brown or grey or black. They'd have different flecks of different colours in them. And Wayne Dyer talks about in that verse as well that the world is made up of 75% water, as are we. We are connected through the tidal, movement of the moon. And so for some of us, we feel very emotional waterworks when it comes to the full moon. So the other thing is thinking about pushing and pulling. If we were to think about the things that come up in our lives that are perhaps problematic and not what we had thought we'd wanted to come up at this particular time, think of it as a locked door. There's no way around it. There's no way through it. You don't have a key. But what water can do is water can seep through under that door and find a way to go through. So in our sitting in silence, which comes to meditation, sitting in silence, we actually allow ourselves to be patient. And it is said that the only voice of God, whoever you believe up there, is the voice of silence. And I also say myself that in the silence comes the wisdom. When we sit in silence, we stop trying to think about pushing against what's happening to us. Instead, we go with the flow. We go with the ebb and the tide, the ebb and flow of the tide, We go with the flow and we just allow ourselves to be. We allow what's happening to us to happen and stop micromanaging things that are outside our control. When we try to control things that are outside our control, we stuff things up big time. So for one day, for 24 hours, Wayne Dyer suggests in his interpretation of this verse of the Tao Te Ching, that what we do is we sit in silence for 24 hours. And if you think about the monks, they do this often. And if we sit in silence and we don't try and manipulate other people or manipulate or control things, manipulate circumstances and events, we sit in silence and wait for the answer. We don't say a word. We don't try and make people do things. We don't try and force situations. We just sit. We go about our business, but we sit. Maybe speak when you're spoken to, because otherwise it might be rude. It might be hard to just sit in silence for a whole day and ignore people. They might think you've gone mad. But what I'm saying is if you use that premise and go, okay, today I'm not micromanaging everything in my life. Today I'm not solving other people's problems who haven't asked me to. Today I am not being the rescuer without being asked to throw a lifeline. I am not going to criticise people. I am not going to think ugly thoughts. I am going to think peace and beauty, and I am going to think just the way water is, pure and peaceful. We're not talking about the raging torrents. So resistance, when we resist, we know what happens when there's a dam wall and there's water flowing and all of a sudden there's so much rain, there's resistance there. The water is going to go over the top. Water goes through everything. Water cleanses, water heals. Water is nature and water is beautiful. Water is grounding. So that resistance, if we put that up, we resist what's happening to us. We resist the things that are being brought to us in this life, right here and right now, especially in this first quarter, because it is a quarter, at the beginning of this year is about us stepping up. It's about us being shown that we need to step up to be who we are. So if you're not stepping up, and stepping into your purpose, shoes of purpose, your Dorothy shoes, then you're going to keep going for the rest of the year the same way. Now is the time, and by the end of this first quarter, you should be very well aware of what it is you're going to be expecting yourself to do by the end of this year. Write a goal. If you haven't done so yet, you write your goal. And as I said to you yesterday about the 5 by 55, I didn't start yesterday because I had a day where so much came at me. And I had to get ready to go into see Mum today. But it was a good day today, very good day, because I kept my boundaries and I did not allow Mum to want me to be her fixer. I didn't allow Mum to see me as the go-get girl. Go do this, go do that, get me this, fix that. Anytime she said something negative, I replaced it with something that I was saying positive. And one of the beautiful things that happened today was I saw an ex-student of mine who'd worked with me over 2 years, and I hadn't seen her for about 2 years. And she was Mum's carer today. So I was feeling very zen. So getting back to resistance, what I'm saying is, and your purpose. If you're resisting your purpose, then you're doing yourself a very big disservice. By resisting our purpose, we're never going to stand up and be who we came here to be. Know that you are who you are. You came here for a purpose. You came here to be different. You came here to make a difference. And I always say the difference is in the difference. So the difference about you and me is that I speak differently. I present things differently. I read differently to other readers. And I mentor differently to other mentors. So the difference in you is you might be a yoga teacher, but you have a different way of presenting your yoga classes than every other yoga teacher. Every dancer doesn't dance the same. Even though they've got to dance the same steps, they have different inflections and different movement and different energy they put to it. Different feelings, different emotions. Same as singers. They're not all the same. Everyone who plays the piano doesn't play it the same. And I have to say, nobody plays the piano like Elton John, in my opinion. So what I'm saying now is, if you're not stepping up to your purpose, you're not only doing yourself a disservice, but you're doing the world a disservice, because you came here to change the world. You came here to be the change for the world. And I want to see each and every one of you shine. And that bright star that you are, I want to see that star shine every single time I hear your name or I see your name. It's a small Wednesday Wisdom today, purely because there's nobody on here with me, and that obviously was meant to be. But it's about, as I said, not resisting. Don't resist change. Don't resist being who you're meant to be. Don't resist your purpose. Don't resist manifestation. Because you can manifest anything you want in this life, providing you believe in the ability of the law of attraction, the law of vibration, to pair with source, with your higher self, with the universe, to bring you everything that your heart and soul desires. You came here to be who you are meant to be, so therefore everything that is out there to help you be that is already there waiting for you. Don't get caught up in the, but I'm not good enough. Don't get caught up in the, I can't do that. Don't get caught up in that, no one will want to hear from me. Don't get caught up in that, I can never afford that. And don't get caught up in that. If that doesn't happen, then I'll do this. If you say that often enough, you're telling the universe you want it not to happen, so you'll have to do that. It's fine to have backup plans, but make sure that you focus your attention on what it is you want to do right now. So for the end of this year, that goal that you have for the end of this year, where you want to see yourself, start working on that now. And I would like every one of you to put a comment underneath this video if you need help with any of this. I can't give you help with stuff if I don't know what it is you want help with. I can give you the general stuff. I can give you the general, how to do things and what's going on and all the stuff that I get downloaded, but I can't help you if you don't tell me what else you want me to give you. So this membership is for you, and if you don't put your hand up and ask, I won't know. Sometimes I get an inkling because I'm told, but your deepest desires, if you're struggling with something, send me a message or put it in the group. I'm here for you. That's what the membership's all about. So I hope this has helped you today, and I thought it was a very important thing to put forward, because I've had clients this week who have been struggling, and what they have been doing is resisting. When we resist change, everything stays the same. So if you're not ready to change, you're going to be exactly where you are now at the end of the year and the next year and the next year. You owe it to yourself to step up to the plate. You owe it to yourself to step into your own spiritual shoes. You owe it to yourself to be authentically you. You don't want to be like everyone else. I don't. I'm not. Never was, never can be, never will be. So, resistance needs to go. Think about water and think about peace and tranquility and silence. In the silence is where the wisdom comes. So, namaste from me to you. And I hope this has given you an insight today into why things are not quite as they should be for you right now. Blessings of love and light, and I will catch you next time.